full Western, no need to really, yeah, that's for more topspin. And the stroke basically when you're doing the full Western becomes a real tell the time. You know, if you had your watch on, it would be a tell the time kind of forehand. It's a lot of forearm and wrist snap. Whereas the traditional, if we were growing up in the 70s there, we were playing the game and they were probably teaching more of the continental where your length of stroke just gets pushed through all the way down and you see the finish in front of your nose there with the racket. Then you get into the Eastern forehand grip where you have a little bit more of a bent arm. And then you have the semi-Western grip, which becomes more of a over-the-shoulder type stroke. And in the backhand, you have the continental grip, and you have the Eastern grip, which is more of the topspin grip. That's your Ferris wheel type hit and your more difficult shot. You've got your merry-go-round hit on the backhand, which is more of the continental, which is your safety backhand. That's the slice, underspin type backhand. And then you have the two-handed, which is more of a left-handed forehand. When you hit the two-handed backhand, you're basically dealing with a topspin stroke, which is guided more by the left hand and the right hand becomes stable.
How do you use two opposed to one? Reach farther with one hand?
You can reach farther with one hand. Two hands has more control. Two hands enables you to hit a higher ball with a little bit more force. Even though cutting down a ball like that, La Federer, is a very good shot to have in your repertoire. But two hands definitely allows you the power and the Nadal type snaps over the shots. The one hand allows you to reach. It allows you to be able to be flexible inside. But it's up to the person playing. I mean, they both have their disadvantages, both have their advantages. So within your group here, and you're dealing with 30 kids on 4 courts.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly, and that's pretty much what, you know, continental grip is pretty much what you're going to be establishing with them. Take Eastern forehand, you know, I would say that a lot of these kids are coming out and they're probably grabbing on, because to pick up the racket like this and to have the palm behind the racket like that is really your Eastern forehand grip. And when they come up and pick up the racket, they love to whack that forehand, and that's probably what they're into. They're into an Eastern forehand grip right off the bat. I think to just get the 30 to that many people involved, beginning, obviously we're not going to be feeding. Sometimes to get the kids to feed to the other kids is not really conducive to anything, because they're going to just be whacking each other, launching the balls at each other. So I think to start off, whenever you do a class to start off, a good exercise to do is to do a self-rally. You know, these kinds of exercises here where you're establishing the sweet spot. It might be very elementary, but it establishes the sweet spot and it establishes an arm and racket together versus just using your wrist and snapping, you know, and losing control. And you can build this from, you know, just having no target and people are just walking all around like this to actually having them stay in the alley and moving, you know, with their feet and side shuffling like this so that they get used to their mechanics and staying in the athletic position. And that would be done with the continental grip. So that's forehand and backhand. And then what you could do is you can apply this to the volley, you know, alternating back and forth like this. You can make it even tougher, and you can say off the edge, and then that really cues them into watching the actual parts of the racket there and the ball. Now after that, I think when I envision that class and I've seen it, you need to deal with a challenge out there. And I think the best way to bring the tennis to that kind of an age group, and kind of also almost a limited passion, because some of them aren't that passionate about it, is to put the challenge into it. And then it becomes a tactical type of approach to the game. And I think that'll be a better sell than just dealing with these micro little lessons where you say, okay, you have to now get through. I would suggest that you do games, and I've got a folder here that I've quickly mapped out for you guys on about 6 different games that involve 4 people. So you have 2 on a half a court, and you have 2 on another half on the other side of the net. and you're doing the ping pong, playing doubles ping pong, and you do rallies like that have a tactical component to it. For example, you have to rally the ball, alternating hits down the line. And then you'd have to rally the ball alternating hits past the service line and score points that way. And you can do that on the forehand where you just limit and use constraints where they can only hit a forehand ground stroke, or they can only hit a backhand ground stroke, or they can only hit with underspin. And so it kind of teaches them, the broader game and the spins and the tactics. So let me just get my clipboard here and see what I... So the ping pong rally, and feel free to jump in with any questions. So the ping pong rally, the challenge would be to start the ball at the same time. And basically, and that's if you're doing a team. So if you did a team competition where you had four players, so you had 2 on that baseline, 2 on that baseline, and then you had 2 over on that side and 2 on that, so a total of 8, you could almost have a team competition rally. And oftentimes you find that the players end up, they're just trying to go for power. Yeah. But if you say, who can sustain that rally within the 4, so you're playing as a team of 4 against the other team of 4, who can sustain that rally the longest, then you, I think, get a little bit more cooperation. You play a tiebreaker, so you're related to the actual game. So let's play the first to 7. First to 7.
And the 2 guys alternate?
And the 2 guys alternate, so you're getting constant motion back there.
And as soon as it dies, like say, I'm just got grade 9s, and they're going to have it'll fall apart in 2 sets, right? So one rally stop.
That's right, and it's finished.
Finished. So, and then you watch the other guys till they're done, and then you go back again. Is that it?
No, it's whoever has missed whatever target that you have predetermined. You would then make them all aware of if the ball goes into the net, for example, because that's the very first obstacle that you're going to be confronted with in tennis is not the opponent. Don't worry about the opponent, because many players try and hit the ball so low and powerful that they realize that, hey, maybe my opponent isn't that good. Maybe I just need to get the ball back and play. So if you make this, if the ball goes into the net, then that team has lost the point. So it's basically who can rally and sustain a marking rally as long as they can with one bounce. And you can even let it go out. The ball can land out, it can land wide, but if the first team to hit the ball into the net within this court, rallying down the line, so you have 2 balls rallying down the line, then that team will lose that point. Then you start at the real point. So it's a very basic, but yet it engages them, and then you can, regroup and say, okay, now you guys did very well with that, let's just talk about a little bit of the impact point, but don't belabor an impact point. Okay, now toss 40 balls to your partner, see if you get that impact point. Just bring some of that technique back to them where you are thinking about going up the escalator, for example. And in this handout, I've quickly jotted down some checkpoints that you might want to talk about on the serve, on the volley, on the ground strokes, and on the return of serve. But yes, Richard.
So it's a little bit unrelated question, but teach a unit of tennis. You start with the ground strokes first, and then go to serve, and then go to volley. Or which order would you do it?
Well,
you got all the little mini games that support each one.
That's right. I think that it depends on how much you've got an hour, right?
Yeah. So let's say you got 12 lessons, or 15 lessons, and in 15 hours,
right.
How many hours would you dedicate to what, and then where do you want to?
I think every day, right off the bat, I think that the students should know what the game's about, like the scoring, the serving. You may want to zoom in on one aspect of the game, like ground strokes, and give that a little bit more weighting throughout the first couple of weeks. But don't wait till like week 4 to actually get them to serve. Give them the global, the whole aspect of the game versus them just linking it all up. Because you may get some students that aren't going to be there for a couple of weeks and they're going to miss that valuable. But if you do take it to to that stage or you take it from that concept that you teach the whole game first, then you can just add more complex or make for example, you could start with foam balls, and then as you feel that these kids get better and better, you move the low compression to the pressurized balls. Or there's another game that I'm going to have introduced to the kids, and that's the Olympic Challenge, where if you find that you have a group of kids which are not as skilled as others, then you divide up the courts. That's nice that we have dividers here, but you divide up the courts so that that court would be the bronze court, and it's the foam balls. That this court would be, the second court would be the low compression, that'd be the silver court, and the top court there would be your gold. Because as the balls get, as you know, they get harder and more pressurized, they go through the air faster. So I'm hoping that you found that at least the foam balls for some of the entry level are better.
I found some of my best players still like playing with the foam ball. They just thought it was fun.
Yeah.
And they still were using good technique, but they just like playing with the foam balls just because they don't miss as much.
They don't miss as much. And anytime you get that kind of suspense in the rally, you've got them captivated. And that's the whole idea, is that they keep these kids captivated. And that's the idea of these different lengths, graduated lengths, or created the boundaries to either be more successful, or if they are too good, then you limit them. You know how that goes when there's that training at the same time. So let's get you guys out here and move. Let's get you run around and just check out your own a fun little, and I'll go through these exercises every 10 minutes. I'll just give you a sense of.
That's me.
That's Kevin.
Sorry.
Some of these, a couple of these are from last year, and I hope that you had a chance to use them. Yeah, exactly. So, and I hope that you found that they were valuable, like dingles. Dingles, yeah. I'll explain that in a minute. And based on this concept of 8 people per court, and then it gets easier if you have less people per court, obviously. But based on that concept, if you can get 8 people to work on court. And the other, that's a good day. That's a great day.
Good. Where do you want us?
Okay, so I'm going to give you just a warm-up exercise here with the balls, and what I want to do is racket circles. And racket circles, I need my racket. This one. Racket circles means, one of the primary aspects of the game is to be able to use the opposite hand in the ready position. Now this one doesn't highlight the ready position as it does highlight the use of the opposite hand. And so many players out there, and if you're a squash player, you will be very in tune with doing the one arm. But in tennis, when you get up to the net, for example, you need to have the racket head above the net band. If you're serving, you need to have the wrist relaxed so the opposite hand is there. If you're setting up for now more of the power forehand, you need to have the left hand help guide the racket so you get the unit, the upper body turn, preparing for a big swing. If it's a backhand, you need to be able to quickly snap that in, and that's the use of the left hand. That left hand with the index finger on the strings, it's like a spider, and the other fingers wrapped around.
If you're two-hand?
What's that?
If you're two-hand?
And if you're two hands, it will quickly come down the shaft like that.
Oh, it comes down. You leave it up and then come down.
Djokovic,
Okay.
playing with players like that, will come up and with a forehand. If it's there, they'll drop the hand down,
Okay.
and they will hit through with 2 hands. Okay? So, racket circles. So let's have a partner, 2 people on this service box area, one on one side, one on the other, 2 people here, and let's have 2 over there, 2 over there. If we have a big group of, no, we don't quite. But I will be here on this board.
Okay, we'll go over
How
here.
many balls? Any balls?
Just bring a couple of foam balls with you right now.
Where are we going, man?
Going under.
And each time you hit, I would like to have you guys pass the racket behind your back. So pass the racket behind your back So after you hit forehand to forehand, put it in your left hand and pass it around your back and grab on. So you have to use your other hand or else you won't be able to have the racket circle happen like it is. So pass it around behind your back, grab onto the racket. Each time after you hit, you must pass the racket behind your back. Backhands can work the same way. You finish, and then you grab on the racket.
You go the other way around.
Pardon?
You go the other way around.
You can go the other way around. You can go between your legs. Pass the racket between your legs. It tells you that it forces you to think about. It forces you to think about the opposite hand. Go ahead, Christine. Try it under your legs.
Oh, sweet.
See, that's it.
Nailed it.
And can you do it twice through your legs now? Before. Weave it through your legs. And do a whole weave and see if you can do that before the ball gets to you. Okay. All right. So that's racket circles. Just a quick way of. Yes.
Would you have like, would you have groups of 4 doing that, or would you have like groups of 6 on the court doing that? How would you?
Well,
when you got so many kids. Like
that's
30.
right. You would probably maybe team them up, and have alternating hits. So come in and keep the rally going as a group
and then
of
go
4.
behind.
That's right. Go behind, but or you could. As soon as you miss the ball, then your partner comes up and you stay up for as many as 2 racket circle attempt rallies. Yeah. So racket circles to warm them up. The other way to get people to warm up and think about the volley, and this is called the yo-yo. If I could have Dean, why don't you come up with me here behind me?
Jump over that net.
Yeah, the yo-yo, and Richard and Mike, thank you. If you guys can go back there,
Kevin, do you mind
Mike,
for this?
you'll be behind Richard. No racket circles at this point. It's basically, what I will do is I will complete a ground stroke. So if we have 4 per group, and 4 down the line, who's behind me? I hit a ground stroke, I move in for a tap volley. And then I go back to the service line and move in for a tap volley, and then I'm out. So I do 2 cycles of this, 2 cycles. So I only need just two back there, just to kind of simulate if you had, but Mike, you stay in. So if you had 8 people per court, then I would come in, and you would just stay there, Dean. You wouldn't move. You wouldn't move, Richard, sorry. You wouldn't move, okay? So I come in, and I tap to you. So, and I move back quickly, and I hit a ground stroke, and I move in. But you stay on the baseline. Then the next person comes in. So it's a ground stroke and a move in and a volley. Okay, then you hustle back, right. And so, right. And that's called the yo-yo. What that it's a shorter version of the bigger game, and it helps set up the kids with their footwork and their movement in and back. Now, the foam balls are definitely the key to this exercise, okay? You can't get the pressurized balls if you have kids that are intermediates and below. Use the foam balls just to kind of give them the sense of moving forward, feeling confident and comfortable at the net, even though the foam balls definitely make you feel very comfortable. But it is fun for the less skilled players because they don't feel so hesitate they're going to get hit by the ball. Right.
Which I find bizarre. They don't know how to hold up and make it a gentler touch.
Right.
They just come up and they hit, well, I am trying to hit it soft. And they just wailing on it.
Right, exactly.
Is that
Well,
just, I don't know
Yeah.
That's just
I just might go get my coffee, though.
touch things, and they're not feeling that.
Right, right. So that, so come on in for a second. So the question was, how do you get the kids to really feel
There's no finesse. It's just all
the distance or the sending of a ball?
Yeah.
Well, you could use the volley. The volley is the easiest way to kind of apply that. And if I was to have Richard in front of me and I was to have Richard down and relax and put the racket down, it's okay, you're not going to say? I know. And if you could put the racket down, Richard, and if Richard, I just asked Richard to catch the ball, and this is going to relate to the volley. So if I ask him to catch the ball, he catches it with a bent arm, okay? And we go through that. Now, Richard, can you grab your racket and put your index finger in the racket swings is a net. And I want you to, basically as the ball comes up, I want you to catch the ball after it bounces off the racket. So you tip it up and you catch the ball now with your left hand. Right. So, and I'll take that again. Now bunt the ball back to me as it comes. So just let the racket be frozen there and just squeeze and freeze. Squeeze and freeze. And, right. And now, Richard, okay, if you could keep that foot, no, don't go down the handle, no, just step with the left foot to me. Step and right. So that's kind of a sequence there to kind of limit the swing. And it kind of limits the swing. So the volley is a good exercise to help do that. Or what you can just give the kids targets to send it to a certain area, and that becomes into a self-rally. And so this is where you can get a massive group together if you have, designated target areas. And if you don't have targets, the easiest way to do that is to have someone in an alley, someone in the center of the service box, someone on the service line center, and you can get 5 across right there, or you can have 4 across and then have a partner behind. So you have, you've got 8 people, so you can have 4 here and 4 there, and you send the ball. So this person self-rallies. And Richard, if you could go back to the service line, or actually, if you could come into the center of the service box with no racket, and basically, to send it in his hands. Now you say, but they're doing, they're doing this.
Yeah.
Well, sooner or later, they're probably going to get the idea that they have to slow down so that the person over there wants to be engaged. I think that they should get that concept. It may not happen as fast as you might like, but as far as feeling the game, that just comes from time. But giving them a sense of target and projection, it may not happen at the first class, but hopefully by the third they get the feeling. But don't dwell on it. Then you just give a real quick snippet of the feeling and the target. And Richard can move back farther and farther and farther, but I would definitely start with the shorter distances first. So let's play the ping pong rally down the line with the forehands, and we will have Mike and Richard on the baseline, and we'll use the foam, and we'll have Dean and Brenda on that baseline. And so what I would you're going to alternate hits. So in the game of tennis, and this is how you would relate it, it's a tactic in the game to hit ground strokes from the baseline, and it's a tactic in the game that if you hit 4 balls back, you're probably going to win the majority of the points in the game of tennis, because you're giving your opponent the opportunity to make a mistake. And so to hit a low ball over the net is not going to be conducive to keeping the rally underway. So I would like to see you guys right now rally down the line, and you alternate hits, and then whoever makes the mistake in the net then loses the point. And you can only rally from the center service line over to the double sideline. Okay? You can hit long right now if you want. If the ball goes long, that's okay. All right? So you start out with a lot more of a wider possible area for success. All right, so alternate hits, so it's like ping pong doubles. Alternate hits, Brenda's up first, Dean's up second, Richard's up first, Mike's up second. I'm going to feed the ball in and hit one ball and then circulate. No, you can go back to the base. You can't move in. No, you can't move in for a kill smash. Okay, you're just rallying from the baseline right now. Okay, here we go. And let's see. So, okay, there's one mistake. 0-1. That's it. Okay. That's well.
You said 4 times over.
That's right.
You need a new demo. That's out.
4 times over generally wins the point. So watch that ball there, Mike. Can you move 0? So
You don't want to have huge hits to the back of the baseline.
Because you guys suck.
the object right now was
Keep that rally going. It's the object.
well, that's right. Get 4 balls back into play right now. Let's go 4 times. So each person gets a hit, and then after that, then however the point unfolds, if somebody makes a mistake into the net, then there is a loss of a point. Okay? So let's rally 4 times. Away we go. Once. Twice. 3. Okay, everybody's got it in now. If anything goes into the net, lose the point. Okay.
That's a point.
1-0. That's right. So now we play up to a tiebreaker. A tiebreaker in tennis is played first to 7. 1. Okay, no point scored. No point scored yet. Everybody has to get 4 in. Or 1 in each. 1, 2, 3. Okay, no point scored. No point scored
turn
there.
for a
Still
second one.
1-0. You guys keep track. Speeds up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Points on the way. Little backspin there. Little backspin. And there's 6 guys. Nobody's hit into the net yet. Okay. Nice catch. Oh! 1-all. And you play up to 7. Very good.
All of a sudden, the competitive juices are flowing.
And that's the key, I guess, to selling it, right? Is to get the athletic and the competitive juices, whether you're that athletic, you know, it sometimes doesn't seem to matter.
I like names to games and dingles. I forget dingles.
Okay, and that's the next one on our list. So you can do that. Now it depends again on the expertise of your group, and you can let the kids be their own rule maker as far as whether they want to do just forehand to forehand, they want to do backhand to backhand, or leave it an open agenda where they can do whatever they want. For the most part, that's probably where you're going to be, unless you have the Wesley Birches or the Sven Bornemans out there. Everybody's going to basically just try and do whatever they can.
Yeah, whatever to
play.
get it back.
Yeah.
That's right. And the dingles, the idea with that is, again, to keep the ball cross-court. So you're selling the tactical aspect of the game, whether it's singles or doubles, that cross-court is the predominant direction in the game. The longer distance in the diagonal, the lower part of the net. It is a couple of inches lower because these aren't regulation. If you had the singles net post up, it would be 6 inches to 3/6 there, but it's not regulation, but it will be lower through the center. And it's hard to change a hard hit ball. It's hard to change a hard hit ball. If you get a cross court coming, keep it going back cross court. And the serve basically starts out in a cross court direction. So right off the bat, you should be thinking cross court. So dingles means that you have a doubles and a singles component combined in one. And you can play this with 4 people and play with 8. It depends on, you know, if you want to keep the kids alternating in and out. 2 people behind the deuce baseline, 2 people behind the ad baseline, and same over there, 2 and 2. You can keep the same 4 up, rallying, and just keep them in for the whole rally, or you can have everybody alternate, and that gets pretty crazy. So that'll be interesting to see. I've never done 8 doing the dingles, but we can do the 4 right now, so you get an idea of that. So, Christina, why don't you and Richard go back? And you two are going to get back on the baseline. And let's have Richard and Dean. Why don't you go back?
That's the one that starts singles, then you yell.
I got the camera.
That's
Good
right.
for you.
That's right.
It's good for you.
So we start the rally now. You start at the same time. Start at the same time.
I forgot. Oh, you're 2 balls, and then all of a sudden becomes 1.
So one, as soon as well, you say that you can command when it goes to the dingles, right?
Because our kids would have to yell doubles or else they'll never figure it out.
Okay. So that's fine. If they want to yell doubles to start off the point, then that's the way to do it. But whenever any ball, because there's 2 balls underway right now, when any ball does not continue to go cross court, either it hits the net, goes out, or if that ball that you were rallying happens to go down the line, then you have to stop your rally and you basically join in the other twosome that is still carrying on with their rally. And then it becomes an all-4 with just 1 ball.
Yeah, that's what I meant. When somebody makes a mistake, then we yell doubles.
Then you yell doubles, right? Basically now, right.
I
now,
played this
Richard,
that just as soon as you lost the ball, that people could go down the line, but that as soon as you lost the ball, then you went to singles. Because these guys will go, they won't even be able to get it across a couple times.
Right. Okay.
So they switch to start with, and then when they lose the ball, they go to singles. But you're saying that if they go down the line instead of cross court, because you're focusing on the cross court.
That's right. You're focusing on the cross court.
Or you can just play
and the foam balls again help this with, and it can happen right away. Okay, so go ahead and start the rally. If you miss your feed, then yell. Now it's a double bounce.
We do a lot of modification.
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 Okay, double. Yep. And you guys can play it out.
Good one, Richard.
Nice.
You got the whole court. Get going.
Gotta watch him, Christina.
We'll stay on one side, you have to run the baseline.
That's doubles right there. Because
That's
that
doubles
didn't
right there.
see what I mean. Like they was still alive.
Right. Nice shot.
You realize this is all being taped.
I know, it could be incriminating. They'll play it on those thing TV sets all over the school.
So when you do these exercises, I made a couple of little technical points that in order to hit cross court, you want to keep that impact point and a wrist laid back out in front, and when you do a ground stroke, a shoulder turn, the shoulder turn is definitely necessary. Some people would just get the bunt kind of action,
Yeah.
but that the impact is out in front.
Yeah.
And that's the big, that's the big key there. It's out in front, not behind, even though it can be manufactured still with a wrist snap. Some of the better players, like the Svens and the Westies, will do the unit turn. That's called the unit turn, where they're powering up from the legs and letting the whole body become the driving force. So you got the bunt, you've got the shoulder rotation, and you've got to step in, or you can do the whole unit turn.
Also, when you're stepping, like I've always taught it to step in and move forward. Well, there's a kid in my class who's on the tennis team. She said, no, they don't do that anymore, Mrs. Watson. You step back.
Right.
And I'm going, oh, step back.
Step
So
back.
All my kids that have never played tennis,
Right.
they're trying to step back and it's not working at all. So
Well,
she and I are kind of.
There's
arguing over this.
that's an advanced maneuver when you get a high bouncing
Exactly.
ball and
That's
you
what I was-
have
yeah.
to make the hit and you step back
Yeah.
because the ball is here and you still
Right.
want to get your unit turn. That's right. That's true.
But it's quite advanced.
It's advanced.
Yes, you know.
Open
Well,
stance.
you already know how to play tennis.
The closed stance is, you can't step with your right foot because you're going to block yourself out. So you still have to go through with your
Right.
left foot.
Okay.
So
I don't
there
know
is-
if this is great, but I talk to the kids about everything being long. Everything's long, bracket back and early.
Right.
Everything long. Whether
Right.
even the serve, up, wide,
Right.
long. One motion going forward instead of whip.
Right. Yep. No, those are all, good, simple instructions. Some players may not be able to do that long and may have to come back to the contact kind of orientated.
Just a quick question. So, idealistically, you want to get them going forward when they hit the ball, when they're first starting out, stepping into it, just like
Yeah.
any sport?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That's good
it
enough.
promotes a little bit of a sideways, and
Yes.
it promotes this kind of
Okay, step
push
in.
through,
Okay.
throwing a pail of water down the court. Yeah. Ideally, the whole idea to have that 4 balls to extend through and to have your palm continue to go through, not the one ball that is the real ball, but continue to have that extension out. There's too many players come in here and you have to deal with that wrist snap.
Yeah.
Or they try and pull off too quickly, look down. So having the sideways and going through 4 balls is a great analogy to have.
Enid Jackson. Do you know who Enid Jackson was?
Oh, yeah, she
And
tries.
Yeah.
I've heard of her.
Eyes. She said the eyes had to follow
That's right.
the
Yeah.
shot.
To the target. That's
Yeah.
right. Exactly.
Just the target.
The approach, you can do the approach and volley. Again, you're trying to bring in the game and trying to bring in the what they see on TV or in the parks. So you can do the approach and volley in the very same manner that we just did with the rally down the line. The player on either side feeds in a short ball, and the ball needs to land, around the service line, a short ball. I guess you would have to then make the distance a little smaller if you found that the people weren't able to feed very well to a distance that you're hoping for them to feed to. So, for example, let's have Dean, if you'll go back to the baseline over there, please, and let's have Mike, if you would join in on that side to give you the 4. Let's have, I'd say Dean Richards. Dean over there, please, and Richard over there. So it's basically it's a simple approach feed, drop shot feed. So what you would do here, Dean, is you would take that ball. Sorry. Is you would you would feed in a ball, and again, you're trying to get them to play the game, and you're trying to give them the sense of that running in forward is okay, so that you feed in a short ball to this team, and you play at the point against Richard. Richard is approaching the net for a volley. So you would run in, and because you're using the full balls now, it should be a little bit easier for you to feel comfortable up the net. And what this will do is, one, get you the idea that you should come up to the net when you are given a short ball, that you don't just backtrack, because then that will advance your level of play. Anytime that you're forward, you're always presenting yourself in a pressure position against your opponent. It's great for players that are, for example, hockey players. You can sell it on the fact that hockey players are in front of the net, have to deflect pucks. This kind of approach to the game is great for volleyball players when they're trying to do their volleyball saves. They're at the net here and they have to use their reflexes. So you've got that kind of aspect that you tie into this. So, Richard, if you'll go back, and Dean, you'll play out the second point. You feed in the short ball. Pardon? No, you play out the point. So you get a short ball, and Dean, you're not playing. Sorry, Mike, you're not playing. Okay, so Richard is up. He can be wherever he is, and you need to feed the ball. But you back up a little bit, because you're on the baseline. You're defending. Okay, and so you feed a ball into the service square, and then you play out the point. Okay, play. So you come all the way up to the net. You've got to come up. Lose that ball. Richard has taken you to that task and beaten you to that position at the net. So you guys are being
Hasn't it all.
That's
So Rich should have been up there first.
Rich should have been up there first in his approach shot.
Okay, so I go first.
That's
Or
right.
am I reading this?
That's right. So you will take
I'm
this
just
next
supposed to lob it so you're forced to
Okay, and
commit.
then I go up.
Gain confidence coming in.
I wouldn't call it a lob, I'd call it a drop. I call it more of a short ball drop shot. Right. Okay?
Nice lob.
Right? Take it 2 bounces. And you know, and this is the beauty of that. You guys can, go ahead. We all want to see how we ball. No, it's okay. Let's start it again.
I'm perfectly fine. That's cool.
Okay. So
That's
you can
good.
make these parameters, like for example, you can make it a 2 bounce,
Yeah.
2 bounces per point
Right.
by the time you get into the net. But the idea here is that you don't get caught up just, trying to continue to correct all of their technical
Right.
mistakes,
It's
but
boring.
that you give them more of a tactical sense to the game. And then you can say, well, okay, the volley is a squeeze and freeze action because too many players come in and swing. The volley where you angle your racket is generally where the ball is going to go. So think about an arrow through your racket when you hit a volley. This is the best volley position. But if you touch the net, you lose the point. You might get hit. Not most, advantageous. It's the best to be able to hit a ball off the frame and get the ball over. So, and you get lobbed very easily. So that's the best, but it's not the ultimate. This is the defensive volley position. This is more of a legs volley area, a shoulder area here. But this is the ideal volley area where you come in and you step and you use your forearm and you penetrate, you catch and penetrate. Here it's just a block, but then get the heck out of there. So that's all that you really, and you think about using the continental grip. And then you go back to the kind of game play again. Okay, let's play another one. Short ball, there he is, approach the net, you've got to come in the square, good. Now, great play. Yeah. That would have been it. Okay, another shot, another point. Here comes Dean's going to play.
So this is short
Okay.
lob.
Right, and the big smash. That's beautiful. Oh, the return. Who are these guys? Look at this.
Oh,
It's in or your point. It's out, it's your point. It's too old. It's out, it's your point.
The other way to do this too is
Good
to
rally.
not depend on a feed from your partner. That you stand at 3/4 court, because again, you would, most cases, you would attack the net if you stood here. So if you ever find yourself in this position, then move into the net and follow it up. But your feed has to go, and you can, depending on your skill, your feed may go at any length down the line, or your feed for a better, more advanced player should be past the service line. And if you have even more skilled, like the Svens or Wesleys, then it has to go past a 3/4 marker. Way down the line, and they can kind of determine where that is. So again, attaching that tactical component, but yet you're still dealing with 4 down the line, and you keep points playing up to 12. Tiebreaker, first to 7 points. Again, educating them a little bit about the whole game.
So in that drill there, like I showed, but to lob, you don't want to lob it. You don't want to lob it. You just want to make sure you can, because you're not practicing, right? By lobbing that, you want the guys to net. To do the
That's
volley.
right.
Yeah.
But even though a lob is still it's still part of the game. So
Right.
you can kind of, if you want to make the instruction a little bit more of a volley instruction that week, then yeah, get them to say no
Win the
lobbing.
volley. Okay.
Yeah. And then you can do the same thing for serve and volley. Serve and volley is another very fun and challenging type of exercise.
Now we have the balls there and the balls back there.
You would basically just have the one bucket here, and what you would do is to make sure that at least they feel like they have that that essence of it. You get them to come up with 2 balls, and I would start up, and if I serve but I didn't get it in, I would run here and I would feed feed the next one in and then come up, and more than likely I would get a volley. Not always the chance, but at least you get them running, you get them circulating, there's activity there down the line, and then they alternate points. But then instructing them that this is the defensive volley area in the game, and this is a leg. So you can touch the butt of the racket down to the ground to make sure that you really get low for the volley, to butt touch, then feed, and then come in and play with the point. And then you've got a little bit of an instruction action to the actual volley. So make sure you say the racket.
Yeah.
Okay, and then move in and establish your position, and it's a squeeze and freeze using the continental grip. And then, of course, the Olympic challenge, which I think that, you know, if you use if you had the 3 balls, then that would allow you in time limits. It's a great way to get the competitiveness out there, to just let kids use whatever technique that they have. Doesn't matter. Form is not a fundamental to winning points. You know, there's so many different ways that people invent games and sports. We see it all the time. That somebody could be very unconventional and have very limited conformity, but if they're coming up here and they know how to get to the ball, and they're doing this all the time, but they're centering the ball in the sweet spot and they're winning the points, they would love to have this kind of a challenge where you would win the point on a half a court, and after 3 minutes, every 3 minutes, they just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they would basically, you could actually have them move as a team. Since you do have 4 on a half a court, then they would gather up points as a doubles team. And then every 3 minutes, then that team that's defeated that team moves up a half a court. So then if Richard and Christina won on this court, then they would move up and play the winners on that court. And the losers on that side would come down to this court. And then you would have the foam balls there, you would have low compression here, so then it becomes, I think, a very even level of interest, because you're dealing with a lower speed, and yet the rallies, because of their skill level, are carrying on at the same intensity and same level as the pressurized, the more skilled people, all having that maximum enjoyment. So, and then we did the serve relay. The last couple of minutes, because I know you guys have to go. You have to split away here.
We got about 10
right
minutes.
on. Okay. The serve relay. Do you remember that one where you had the? Have you used it? Okay. The
Which is a
pile of
5
balls
feet.
at the
I really
net,
watch it.
and then they serve it in cross court. If they get the serve in, maybe we should just do it for Christina and Dean. Have you seen that serve relay?
No.
Okay.
I'd love to see it.
Let's do that.
14.
Can the boys watch this?
Okay. So we'll do the serve relay here, and we'll. So you're gonna file 5 there, okay?
I'm just going to watch this one.
Okay, can you do this one?
No, I'd like to visually watch it if that's okay.
Or just make sure it's pointing in the right direction.
Okay.
Dean?
Yeah.
You just chuck it wherever it needs to go and just leave it. Wherever he ends up with. I don't know what he's doing.
I'm going to watch this one.
So we'll come down to this end, and
Okay, there we go. So if he goes where Rich is.
Do you want us on this side then?
no, down to this end. This end.
I can't remember.
And the objective. So we have 2 teams. We have 2 teams. We have 3 and 3. This is perfect. We have 3 on one side going to the ad court. We have 3 going to the deuce side. And your objective is, as soon as gets that ball in cross court, then you will jump to the net and go to the ball. Okay? What if he misses? What if he misses? Then he goes to the
long. And then you have a wide distance, 40 servers, and just get event jobs. And they like to pass it.
If you're, okay, can you grab that ball back there? So if you're looking for technique on the serve, and you're looking for aspects to highlight, it's okay to let them serve with their Eastern forehand grip. It's okay. You're going to find a lot of players are going to serve with their forehand grip. It just is a comfortable position to hold on to. The continental grip is a very awkward position for the racket to be in because the racket faces pointing off to their left. And many times when they come up, they stand on the baseline because they want to see everything forward like this. How many people come up and stand sideways? It's just not natural for the net. So they stand like this. So now you ask to serve with the continental grip, they go, it's going to go. So to have this, the grip, is going to be a tough sell. So let them work with the Eastern forehand grip. To make life, you know, square it off a little bit. They can still add a little bit of wrist action from their, you know, from the Eastern forehand grip to get a little spin out of it. When they get a lot better, and if they're doing, you know, the driving range of tennis, which I say is serving buckets of balls on the baseline. Not many people do that unless they're at a very high level. Once they get to that stage, then, you know, you can really drill into the head that they have to have the continental grip to get all of the attributes to a very good serve, like the kick serve, like the snap, and the slice serve. So, but you can tell them that this is where they're going to. And when you do tell them about the serve and where the power comes from, that it's generally, everybody goes through this disposition here in the serve. That mirror is checking out the back of your head kind of position. Okay? So you've got a mirror there. That's where everyone goes through, whether they take their racket up like this, together like an Andy Roddick, or whether they take it back a little bit like a Federer like this, or whether they do it like a Djokovic like this. They all come through this position. So that mirror position there is important to have. And then from there, it's a lay the racket up on the refrigerator, it's a hit up, and it's a snap down. Hit up, snap down.
I do what you told us a couple of years ago, where you just have them start like this.
Okay,
What
great.
you told us, but you just have them start in that position, toss and swing. That's all they do to minimize draw pairs.
That's right.
I think it was a couple of years ago, and that works pretty well.
Great. So, any questions that you have? Yeah, they around the world.
Around the world, they love that.
They love that too. That's a great sell.
What was your court version? You had Peter at the net, 5 people, 20 on one side.
That's right. The Royal Court can be used.
Or touch the back.
You can do that down the line. The Royal Court down the line works great. You know, it works well with. Well, again, you have four players, so keeping it down the line is perfect because you have 3 there and you have 1 person on this side, and you have the servers are part of the 3 groups. The 3 are the servers, and the 1 is the returner. And yes, you are serving down the line, but you know you're still getting them to think about keeping your chin up on the serve. The angle of the racket won't be perfect for the actual unfolding of the cross-court serve, but again, you're dealing with limitations here. And then once they win the point, immediately the server runs down so that you get traffic going back and forth and you get movement. If you wait for 1 of the 3 to get 2 points off the returner, then it's too much standing around, you know, for the exchange. You only have a certain amount of, not standing around, but you want 1 person to have more glory, to have frequent loyalty down at that end. So, I still understand what you're talking about. Okay. So let's put it into action. Let's have Richard back there, Christina back there, Brenda there, and if I could have Kevin down at the other end. Just 1 return. Kevin, why don't you go down to the other end?
You're the
You'll
king.
be royalty.
Okay, focus. You film this one?
Now you're playing down the line. Move the balls there for a safe area. We don't want to have you know, this on film that you broke your ankle, and the other ones too, because they're going to play down the line. Just move those. So let's. Richard is going to serve down the line to you. and we only have one royalty down there. Richard's going to serve to you. He's going to play down the line, including the alleys, and you only have half a court. You can do whatever you want. So you can do whatever you want. Only half a court. Just playing straight ahead. Okay, and a second serve. Second serve.
We're just playing one-on-one against it.
One-on-one down the line. Okay.
Okay, Rich is out, Brenda's in.
Okay, now that's 1 point. You count that double fault as 1 point. 1 point.
Yes.
That's in. Play. Play. Okay. And you continue to
You
play
stay,
this
that's
way
2. And if you lost, you'd go to the end of the line down there. A new person come in. Just king of the court.
Careful of, where you're standing there.
What I do in tennis though is I have somebody here waiting. If you win, you wait here. Otherwise, it's too
Very
long,
good.
too long
It's
of
in.
a run, right?
Play. Yes. Okay. How many points? 3. Okay. Carry on. Woo. Okay. You run down. You're down now. That doesn't count as a point, though. That doesn't count as a point. So now you start collecting. You keep adding your points. That was 3 points.
I don't like the lighting in here. It's not really. I have to talk to my director of lighting. More offensive
He
stuff.
is just ready. Brenda, great serve. And that's going to be in.
She's had some lessons.
Brenda's down now. You still have 0 points, but very good effort. And your enthusiasm.
Ooh, you got the
has
very
not
good
gone
effort.
unnoticed.
I got the good effort thing.
So, and then all of a sudden, you go time, rotate. And so what you do is then you take, okay.
High score, low score.
The highest point getter moves up a half a court.
The rest is
That's right, exactly.
Well, we do that with badminton, the queen of the court, whatever you want to call
What
it.
we do in Rich and I do in tennis is we have, if you win the point, you have somebody waiting here at the post. Too.
Princess.
Yeah, princess. That way it's not such a long run.
Yeah.
Right. Save time. So the
And then they
princess
keep
goes,
track.
And that person, when the point goes to the princess thing, then they go to the camp.
Queen,
so it just saves
princess.
See? That's a great
and then it's
presentation.
3 max attempts, and
Right.
you know if they're royalty for 3 times, you got princess becoming royalty, and
What was around the world?
That's great.
Around the world is just you hit, you run around the net, and when there's
can
4
do-
people, you just stay.
Or you can do team ping pong, right? Ping pong with 2, 3. You can just rotate alternating hits on this side, or you can hit one and then you run all the way off to the other side. And then you continue to go. And as soon as you miss a ball, then, or you have however many lives, as soon as you miss the ball, if you say that you have 1 life, then you're out. And then it starts to whittle down that group of 8 to like the last 2. And then the last 2 will hit. Toss it out, you pick it up, play, and you can do that kind of
Starting like 6 versus 6, it might end up being 1 versus 5 at the end.
Well,
I like that. The kids love that.
oh, is that right? Okay.
What's
well,
that? Well, you start 6 versus 6 and you alternate hits. So it's singles. And then if you miss or hit the net, you're out. So it's now 5 against 6, then 4 against 6, then 4 against 5. Whoever misses, sometimes it ends up like 1 guy's against 5 people left over here, and that they keep touching the back wall after you hit, right?
Oh, you have to touch the. Oh, okay.
Touch the
not
back
around
wall.
the world, you're basically staying. So that's like the ping pong challenge with adding people to your team. But
And
you
it's over.
stay.
It's over pretty quick, like 3-4
I do
minutes
the
per
round
game.
the world at the very end. You got tons of balls out, so you get 2 lives. And once your death is twice, you're out, and you go and start picking up balls. And then it's left to the last 2 people, and they have to do a spinorama, and you got a winner. And by the time the winner is established, all the balls are cleaned up. So it's great that way too.
What was that game, Ed, where you had everybody on the court at once, and the ball could bounce as many
That's
times?
crazy tennis.
Yeah.
Crazy tennis. Is,
Dino, do you wanna see this one?
It's fun. I would
Crazy
only
tennis?
use crazy tennis with a foam ball,
Yeah. Foam rackets.
foam rackets.
Can we try it? Just so these guys can see it.
We can try crazy tennis. Let's do crazy
mark it,
tennis. So let's have 3.
We got about 2
3
minutes.
on this side, 3 on this side,
3.
and let's have 3 on this side. And we'll use crazy tennis.
so if you can try.
Once the ball rolls,
Oh, I'm the crazy tennis.
Okay, you're on. Kevin, you're on.
the
You
ball
guys
is.
are on.
You go fast.
Steph, you're on.
I want to watch this.
Okay.
I'll film it.
The ball is considered happy as long as it's bouncing, and your team is considered to be pretty happy when the ball's bouncing. If the ball ends up rolling, that's roll, then you have lost the point. And you set the parameters to however many hits a person can take. Like I might be able to only self-rally 3 times before I have to send it off to my partner. Okay? Yeah, that's right. So, and the ball has to land inside the single court. If the ball lands there, it's out. But the ball, if you're ready to practice, the ball lands there, and he can continue, and I can continue here, and then I can tap it over as long as it's not rolling. The ball's alive. Okay, play. That's illegal. 1-0. Reaching over the net. 1-0. So go ahead and feed it in. It can bounce as many times as you want. Oh, still live, still live, still live. Yeah, safe. This is crazy tennis, and you can make the requirements like 1 self-rally, no self-rally. Okay. Or you can, oh, it's still alive, yes, it's alive. Okay. Shot.
So goal players are probably going to do this.
No, that's right. Goal players, you would say
1 touch, right?
1 touch, or you can even do volleyball tennis within the service boxes with the foam. For advanced players, that's fine. So it.
Still good.
So advanced players, you could do volleyball tennis just within the service box.
Yeah, you can only get 1 or something like that for advanced guys. 1 hit each.
And we would just basically, let's get all 3 over there. Last 30 seconds.
Bad kids would need
And you
that.
can't let the ball touch the ground on the volley with the foam. And so this would all be in the service boxes. Come on in. It can't bounce. We just feed it in, and we basically play. So, all right, that was Christina's.
That would be a gold game.
Up in the center because it can't bounce.
So can I set you?
You can send me. If depending on how, you know,
You're gonna kill me.
how advanced you want to make it. But right. So,
Thanks so much, Ed. That was wonderful.
and if you use pressurized balls, you can say it